Welcome to Earth 2, where superheroes exist and comic book talk is the norm. I'm your host, Vito D.
Mo Crosby.
And welcome to the planet.
Welcome to the planet.
Last week, Teen Titans The Judas Contract came out on digital download. It's loosely based on the storyline, The Judas Contract, by the same title, written by Marv Wolfman and art by George Perez. We already got to see it, so here are our thoughts on it.
Okay, so if you've seen a review from Earth 2, we go about what we like and what we didn't. We're gonna start off with what we liked. In terms of story, I think this was as for something that was loosely adapted or loosely based off an original product. I think the story worked really well based on the fact that it was able to weave what we already know from the comic book, The Judas Contract, and kind of taking it and taking the new characters that we have now, because it picks up from the end of Teen Titans versus the Justice League, right?
Sequel. But
so it's kind of like that. So with the new characters we have, they kind of adapted that story into this, and I think it worked really well. What do you think about the story, Vito?
It worked really well. It was a loosely based adaptation, but it also paid homage to the story that came out back in the 80s, while also being faithful to its continuity that's currently in the DC animated universe, while also paying a lot of respect and a lot of homage to the original storyline. The problem is that it's not as long as I'd like it to be.
I wish. The only problem we thought about it, or the only problem we think, is if it was a little longer, maybe it had a sequel coming, or maybe it had if it was done like a series type thing.
This movie was pretty much like the Cliff Notes version of what happened in the actual story.
So that's it for the story. So we, as you can tell, we both enjoyed the story. Characters we liked. I really liked Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
I really liked Dick Grayson. I mean, granted, he was not the Dick Grayson from the comic book, but the way his story was told here, you still kind of felt like it was that very Dick Grayson from that point, right?
Yeah. He shows off his detective skills. I mean, Batman would be proud.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Batman, one thing I really liked about this movie is there was no Batman. There's no mention of Batman. There is a mention of Batman, actually.
Yeah. I mean, but you have Damian in it.
But yeah, Damian is like the Batman character. But the fact that there's no Batman, and I really enjoyed, because he usually tends to take away from the movies, to be honest. There's no Batman in it. There's no, and I like that. Another character I kind of liked, was Garth. To be honest, I've never really been a big fan of Beast Boy, but no, I've really not really been a fan of him. But in this movie, you got to see a different side of him, because usually Beast Boy is the playful character. He's usually playing a lot, talking a lot, but you got to actually connect with him emotionally, and I thought that was really done well.
And in his later narrations, like in Teen Titans and also Teen Titans Go, they bring in some of his slang that he uses in it. So he's always like, "Hey, mama, how you doing, mama?" Right?
Yes. So they take care enough to touch on and pick up certain things and make you feel like there's no drop off from what you know and what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I really enjoyed about that. I liked what characters did you like besides Dick and Beast Boy?
I'm a huge Raven fan, so whenever I see Raven on there, I tend to smile. I like that this version of the Titans isn't fully. It isn't perfect. I mean, they all
have issues.
Yeah, as opposed to the comic book where it had Cyborg in it, where they had
Wonder.
When they had Donna Troy with Wonder Girl in it, they substituted with what's been going on. So they added in Jaime, Blue Beetle, and they also had Damian in it, and it worked well. It didn't feel forced. So
yes, it felt very fluid.
Yeah, and their chemistry, you see that it's building, and then as opposed to the previous movie that came out, Justice League vs. Teen Titans, it wasn't. You can see that they formed as a group.
So that's those are the characters we liked. I also kind of like Tara. I really feel like they did two things with Tara, because we all know when Tara is with the Teen Titans, she's a little softer. They soften up her look. But then towards the end of the movie, when she now switches sides,
I really think Christina Ricci.
Yes, they edged her up. They gave her the cut we know, and then the dark lips. So it was, they did things to.
And that battle cry at the end.
Oh man, Oh man, yes. When we get to that point, it's lovely. Those are the characters I liked. I tend to always like Slade because there's something he does where he's very manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
He's very conniving. Like there's something Slade Wilson does. Like he's very, like what he did to get Robin off his game.
Yeah,
that was sick.
And it sucks that Manuel Ferrero, the voice actor for Deathstroke, died earlier on this year as well. Yes, so we won't get to see him
anymore
portray Deathstroke anymore. But his rendition of it was amazing, and especially the fight that he had with Nightwing.
Yes, that fight, like the boss fight at the end, was really awesome. A little story point that I actually liked that we didn't talk about was Blue Beetle's story point. Where, I mean, granted, it's 2 years later from him getting the Scarab, but he like him trying to figure out, still trying to figure out how to like connect with the Scarab,
mm-hmm.
and then also trying to what, maybe if I'm around more humans as opposed to being around you guys all the time and being around action, maybe if I'm around more humans, the Scarab will know how to act around human beings.
Yeah, and his family felt the brunt of it. His dad actually made a good point where he's like, you're hanging around with people like Superman, and she just like rip off the Scarab. So his whole character arc was good. It was but I mean not as great as Tara's, but as you'll see, Tara's plot twist and everything was amazing.
So that's what we got for what we like. I mean, one more thing. How about the love relationship between Dick and Corey?
Yeah, I
really know. And there was a couple of jokes in this movie I didn't think they were gonna let fly. There was a lot of things the jokes that Tara was doing. Maybe it wasn't.
It was innocent jokes, but it wasn't like if she wasn't doing it on purpose.
Yeah, so I think it was innocent, but then if it was something that you're watching and you're like, wow, I can't believe they're doing this. DC Animation really went there with this movie. Like there was a scene where Brother Blood was bathing in
another scene.
Killed a reporter, and then is
he bathed in his blood.
Edgy scene. So this is what I'm saying. Like DC Animation this year has really like pushed the envelope a couple times.
Yeah.
And this movie actually went to the line and like tiptoed on the line. But for things that we didn't like,
there were a couple inconsistencies. So the last time we saw Slade Wilson, he was dipped into the Lazarus pit. So the Lazarus pit, what it's supposed to do is supposed to rejuvenate you and make you younger. When Slade took off his mask, he still looked like he was 50 years old. I was like, how old were you when you died? When you saw it, they hint that Tara's and Slade's relationship, even though he was trying to manipulate her, it was still kind of weird seeing her in a very Harley in a nightgown.
Yes, and that nightgown was a little Harley-esque, right?
Yeah,
but I'm just glad they didn't take it there, to be honest. But it's another thing where I was saying they pushed the envelope. But even to watch them, put that in there, it felt very, because it's kind of in the comics.
It was cringy.
It was it was a cringeworthy moment, but it's not. It doesn't really take anything.
No, it doesn't really take away because they don't really add on to it or build off of it.
Yeah, it just kind of like, really. Brother Blood is just a generic villain. Because yes, he's the main motivation for the contract, but that's it. The main villain is Slade and him manipulating Tara, and I think that's so they don't really touch on his motivation for wanting the powers. He's just he just wants the powers because it's like
because he keeps on saying that it's his calling.
It's his calling.
Keeps on saying that.
I wish this is where we say we wish it was a little longer because he seemed like it would have been an interesting character if they really went into what his motivation was.
And also like in the comic also touches on one of the issues specifically is Deathstroke's origin, and in the animated universe you really haven't had Deathstroke's origin, so. It would have been nice had it been like a animated series or a live action series or anything or a trilogy of movies that they would have
started with this and then maybe the second movie would have been Deathstroke's origin and some of the other stuff. But yeah, I mean, again, these issues are very little, nitpicky.
Yeah.
Nothing greatly bad about them. It's a really, like I said,
it seems to be our usual beef with the movies is that we're always nitpicking at the small stuff.
Yes, I mean it's impossible for us to do this and not, especially as fans of the original product, for us not to look at certain things and be like, oh, what if you did this? What if you did that? But again, not saying we didn't like it, but because we did. What else is that? That's it.
No, that's all.
That's pretty much it. Overall,
we enjoyed the movie.
Yeah,
thumbs up. It comes out later on in Blu-ray. Be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
If you're interested in watching it, then you don't have to watch Justice League versus Teen Titans in order to understand this one, because this one pretty much takes off.
It takes off from the end of that.
And it lets you know what's going on.
Yeah.
From that moment.
Because actually, it starts 5 years before Justice League versus Teen Titans. So
they introduced Coriander.
It doesn't even
Starfire.
touch. It doesn't even touch on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel you should go pick it up when it comes out. I think if you're a fan of the Judas Contract comic book, even if you've never read the Judas Contract comic book, but you want to see this movie, it's definitely a pickup from me. Vito?
Yeah. I enjoyed it really well. I mean, the what's it called? The graphic novel is coming out in reprint form in order for to promote this movie. So if you're interested in this,
picking it up.
Pick that up.
But yeah, so it's there's nothing more we want I can add or take away from this movie. I like I've said, it's a pretty good movie, pretty enjoyable. All the scenes are very, and at the end of the movie, it's very touching because from the point where Tara.
Oh, and Kevin Smith is in it.
Yes. Before I forget, Kevin Smith. Shout out to Kevin Smith. You're in this. I enjoyed his cameo in this. It was kind of funny because when Beast Boy had said he was going to the con, he never saw him. He's never going to be in this. And then, boom, and then he's in there. And then they tease old Titan member, but old to the comic books, new to the
animated universe.
So they kind of tease that. Pick it up. That's all I gotta say. From Vito D and myself, this has been our review of Teen Titans: The Judas Contract movie.
You can find us on social media at Earth2, the number 2, Earth2 Comic Cast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Leave a comment. Tell us if you're going to go pick it up. Tell us if you've seen it already and you enjoyed it. Tell us if you agree or disagree with what we're saying. Because we like your comments, so keep them coming.
And we'll talk more in detail about this in our podcast coming up on Thursday.
Look out for that.
So, enjoy.
Yeah. This has been Earth 2. Signing out.
Peace.